All right, welcome to lesson 2. This is going to be a fairly simple lab. We're going to do a scavenger hunt. We're going to comb the site to make sure that we know where everything's at and make sure we understand the class policies so we can be successful over the course of this semester. So let's dive into the code. Okay, so once you get the GitHub Classroom assignment accepted, you should land on a GitHub page. It's obviously it's not going to be this exact one because this is my personal one. It'll be the one that's in your account. So what we want to do is we want to get from GitHub to our local machine so that we can start working on this. So on the scavenger hunt, first things we got to do is we got to actually install all of our tools. Some of you may already have this installed. Some of you may not. So the first thing is install VS Code and make sure install the coding pack for Java. This is incredibly important. If you already have VS Code installed and you did not install the coding pack for Java, you need to uninstall VS Code and reinstall it because it makes sure this is how everything gets set up and works. Without this, especially on Windows, the likelihood that you are able to work correctly will be it'll be difficult. So download for Windows, or download for Mac OS. On Linux, if you're using Linux, you're probably okay. Okay, the second thing you want to do is you need to install Git because we are going to be using Git this semester. Don't worry, it's a very light usage. You're just going to be using Git to submit your code. So you do need to install Git. If you go to gitscm.com, again, there's download for Mac and there's Windows downloads as well. If you're on Windows, you want to do the 64-bit. 32-bit is largely dead. And again, on Linux, if you're on Linux, just install through your normal package manager. Okay, once you have that, let's before we go then we want to go to task 3. We want to compile Hello World. Okay, well, in Hello World, obviously we can't compile it in the browser, right? So we now need to go and launch VS Code. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this because we don't actually need this anymore. All right, so here I got VS Code all launched. Now, your VS Code may look slightly different than mine, depending on how you want to customize it, the color scheme, what have you. I'm going to open up the extensions I have installed because for those of you who are wondering what I'm running, I have a whole bunch of C++ extensions for when I do C++ code, C# when I do C# code, CMake, which is another build system for C++, code spell checker because I can't spell to save my life, debugger for Java. That is part of the Java coding pack, the extent you get that for free when you install the education pack that I mentioned earlier. Docker, another expansion pack for Java. All that stuff you won't necessarily need for this class. I'm just showing it because students often ask me what I run. One thing I would recommend installing for the scavenger hunt is Markdown All-in-One, because part of the scavenger hunt, you're going to be editing Markdown tables, and this plugin makes it very easy to do that kind of work. So that's it for my plugins. If you're curious about what I run, all right. So let's go ahead and get this lesson, which we have right here. Okay, so we have this lesson, the scavenger hunt. We need to get it to our local machine so we can start working. Okay, so what I would recommend, the easiest way to do this, right, is to sign in to GitHub. So you can see I'm already signed in with my GitHub ID. If I just sign out, I'll sign out. And then I click here and I want to sign into sync settings, and I want to sign in with GitHub. I definitely want to sign up with GitHub unless you really know what you're doing and you want to sign in with Microsoft. Signing in with GitHub will make everything incredibly easy for you over this semester. So sign in with GitHub. That will it may or may not open up a new browser app depending on what you've already done on your machine. I'm going to head. It's asking if I want to open VS. I'm going to say open VS Code because I'm allowed because that's what I want to do. And you can see that now I am signed in. Now, you may have gotten more messages on your first time signing in because it may prompt you a whole bunch of times. I did not because I've obviously been signed in a lot. So everything should be good to go. So now I'm signed in. Here's the cool thing is I can hit F1. F1 will bring in my command palette. And now I can say clone. I can just type clone and say git clone. And I can clone for GitHub. Now, again, want to allow. Okay, and it's gonna go through. Now, give it a second because it's going to basically give you a list of everything you have access to, right? So if you go back to when you cloned your assignment, right, we have the URL here. So the URL that I'm interested in is everything that's after github.com. So I can actually just copy that, right? Or another option is I could clone it. I can with GitHub Desktop, don't download zip because that's not a valid option. But if you use GitHub Desktop, you can do that as well. However, I'd recommend doing it through VS Code. So I'm going to copy this. So everything after the GitHub, okay? And then in fact, let's actually make this so we can do both at once. We can see it both at once. Okay, let's go and do this. Okay, now I'm just going to type it in so that you can see what it should look like. Okay, so I'm going to say the first half is right here. Okay, and again, you don't copy this video because this is going to be different depending on your semester, right? This may be fall 2022, fall 2023. This is going to be, you're not going to be Shane P CS2 because that's my personal account. So don't copy that from this video. Use what is displayed in your browser when you accepted the assignment. So Shane P CS2, okay? Then I do a slash, and then what I want lesson, and you can see it's already actually there, right? lesson02. So I click on that. And it's going to ask me where I want to put it. Now, where you want to put your repositories is up to you. I personally, what I do is I have a repos folder, and then that's where I put all my repositories that I work on, right? So I would say let's make a new repository location. I'll say there we go, and I want to open it. Okay, now you may have wondered, okay, where did that actually go? The cool thing about VS Code is I can actually click on any of these files here, and I can say reveal in Finder. If you're on Windows, it'll say reveal in Explorer. If you're on Linux, I'm not sure what it'll say, but it should be some sort of reveal there. And it'll actually show you where you saved it, right? It will show you on your file system where it's at. So you can see here, it's under repos, lesson2 is where it put it. Okay. So now that we have our scavenger hunt, we're going to open up the README. The README has all of the tasks that we need to do for this assignment. I like to actually click it open in preview mode because it makes it a little bit more fancy, right? Because I'm not going to be actually editing the README, right? This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So lab overview, that's a video. That's this video that you're watching right now. We have VS Code and Git installed. That's another video that kind of shows you what everything should look like in case you're having problems. We have class coding standards, and we have cloning and submitting, which is some help for you during to make sure that you hit all of the things that need to be completed for grading. Okay, so overview, just a little quick snaps of what this lab is. The purpose of this lab. And then we have our tasks. So we have install VS Code. Obviously, that's already done, right? Because we already did that when we were when we were reading the README in the web browser. So we already had installed VS Code. We already installed Git. So now what we can do is we can go and we can compile Hello World. So once you have installed all your tools, fix the Hello World Java so it compiles to ensure you have a working Java installation. So I can open up helloworld.java. And you see down here on the right-hand side, it is opening. Give it a second to open because depending on your workstation, it may be quick, it may be slow. And I always just once it finishes opening, I just usually close. And you can see where I'm running Java SC11, Java, everything, service is ready, everything looks good to go. So my task here is just to hit. Well, first let's do run. So if I click run, you can see that I have a syntax error. It does not compile. So let's go ahead and fix that with a semicolon, right? And I will save and just go ahead and going to cancel that. And then I will run it again. And I should see it works right there. So that indicates that everything is at least installed properly on my machine. I can run Java code. It looks good to go. So that's done. I'm going to close that and close my terminal. Okay, now task 4 is the scavenger hunt. Oops, the scavenger hunt. Open the file scavenger hunt. Oops, scavenger hunt.md should not be Java. In fact, let's go ahead and fix that right now. Scavenger hunt.md. All right. Found a typo during the video. Open the file scavenger hunt.md and complete all the to-do items that are listed. So I'll open up scavenger hunt, and you can see here where it just asks us to go through and just basically make sure that as a student you know where everything's at. So the course homepage URL is I filled that one out for you. So textbook URL to do. So if we go back to the course site, right, which we can actually copy here, because I give that to you. We go to the course site, right, which I'm actually running local, right? Go to the course site. You can see that we have the textbook link, we have the discussion forum link, all those links, right? What we kind of already talked about. So all we got to do is just confirm, put the URLs here, just like the example. Put the URLs for the documents. Some questions about the syllabus, right? Total number of points. Late work policy, what your grade will be. And probably the most important thing would be due dates and points. Okay, so lesson 1 core introduction. Okay, obviously there's not any points associated with that. But if we go back and we look at the scavenger hunt, so let's go ahead and copy this. Just fill this one out. So I hit scavenger hunt, the points are 50. So I'm going to, lesson 2 will be scavenger hunt, and points will be 50. Now here's the cool thing about what I was talking about before, my plugin right here, which is right here, Markdown all-in-one. This is nice because now I can actually quickly edit tables. So now I can just go format. Look at that. It makes editing Markdown really easy. So scavenger hunt is 50 points, and I can put the due date, which is right here. Just copy that, and there we go. And format document and save. And that's basically all I got to do to get all this filled out. There are 31 lessons, and not most of everything has points associated, but you can see down here that the study for the midterm, knowledge check there's no points. And as we get down here towards our final project, there's there's a couple of lessons where it's just no points associated. We just have a lesson that is intended to help you get familiar with the project, because the list project is a fairly substantial project for you to complete. All right, and then finally down here, don't forget about this one. Total number of points I can earn this semester is to do, and that is right here, total points, and I lay that out for you. So once I get that all done, then what I want to do is I want to make sure that I click over here, and I want to add all this stuff. So I'll hit add, and I'll just, obviously let's pretend I'm done. I'll say finished lab, hit commit, and then sync, and that's it. That's all I need to do. I can go back and I can look, I can confirm, right, that what I had is done. So if I go back to website, GitHub, I can confirm that what I had was done, because I can go down here and I can open up and I can just confirm, right? So here's what I just did. Obviously we're not finished because we didn't finish this, but that is done. And that is the scavenger hunt. So I hope that this walkthrough helped you out. In the next lab, we're going to have a warm-up where we're going to take it up a notch, and we're going to introduce the build system, the unit test system, and write a really cool, super complicated hello world, right? So that we can start to really dive into some more advanced techniques. So get started, and I look forward to interacting with you all online. Happy hacking.